should have thought about how much time I'm gonna have to spend cleaning it. Just giving them a house cleaner.
Yeah.
Or just checking in and saying, hey, how's that going? Or, they mention to you that they want to add a deck and you happen to see a picture on Facebook of them with their new deck.
Yeah.
I mean, it's moments like that are awesome.
I'll tell you mine, okay? I'll tell you my biggest surprise.
Hello, everybody.
So I got another question for you. So what is the one piece of advice you'd give yourself if you were to start in real estate today? Like if you're brand new and you're going to start today, what's the one piece of advice?
I would say the one piece of advice I'd probably give myself, if I could go back to the beginning, would be to just stay consistent and to understand that it takes a while. You have to persevere. You have to keep going. And the one thing that I think of is something that you have told our team repeatedly, which is, don't take your foot off the gas. Even if things are coming together, even if you're like, okay, it's great. I got a couple of transactions lined up. I'm working with these clients. Things are good. You just have to remember that you can't stop. In this profession, you can't just focus on what you're currently working on. You have to think about future as well.
Yeah.
So, remaining consistent, whether it's good or bad, up and down, because this business is very much like a roller coaster at times, especially the newer you are.
Well, let me ask you that. So it can be a roller coaster at times. And, I've heard agents say that. What does the consistency help with that? As far as and what does consistency mean to you? Necessarily, does that mean you're, I don't know, contacting X amount of people per day, or what exactly does that mean for you?
So for me, I have to say to myself, okay, if 90 days from now, I'm hoping to help someone, it can take a while to work with that person, understand their needs, and meet their timeline.
Yeah.
Not everyone is ready to go as soon as you talk to them on the phone or meet them in person. So you have to meet people where they are. And if you don't have people lined up for right now, how are you going to get that? And what are you going to do when they are ready to go? So consistency to me is every single day spending time in real estate. I have a lot of jobs, so to speak, beyond being a realtor. Like I'm a mom, I'm a wife, but I have to designate time every single day for, lead prospecting, talking to people in my sphere, putting, marketing out there for myself, as well as what I currently have going on. You can't just focus, hyper focus just on the transactions you're currently doing.
Yeah.
Because if you do, then that's where you're really going to experience that roller coaster. You're going to hit a low.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden you were busy, and then all of a sudden you close this one, you close that one, you close that one. Well, what's next?
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. Basically everything that you're doing right now, you're going to see the results 90 days from now. So, if you're just focusing on real estate today, like the deals that are under contract, you're not doing any prospecting or any follow-up, well, 90 days from now, you're probably not going to have as much business as you want. So, I've seen that for years whenever we're talking about roller coasters in real estate. Well, the question is, what were you doing 90 days ago? And they're like, oh yeah, I forgot. I needed to, my follow-up wasn't great at the time. And I think all of us slip into that. Even me doing this forever. I slip into that sometimes too. So yeah, consistency is absolutely key. And as corny as it may sound, keep your foot on the gas, which keeping your foot on the gas to me means being consistent, doing your follow-up. The reality is this: a lot of times only takes an hour, maybe two a day. It doesn't take that long.
Well, that's if you've done it for a while though, Steve.
Whatever.
It takes me longer, but I think you have to be okay with things taking longer when you're newer at them.
You do.
Whether it is making phone calls, or whether it is, putting an event together, or whether it is how you format a newsletter. All the things that go into this business, they're going to take you longer when you're newer at them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's a valid point. It does take a little longer, but just think about this. If you have 5 people you need to follow up with, probably 2 of them or 3 of them you're going to send a text, which just takes a minute or two, and maybe a couple of them you're going to call. And that's something I also think that a lot of people get scared of whenever they're in real estate is, they think that they can only make phone calls. And a lot of people are just nervous of that, but the world's changed a little bit. You can communicate with people in different ways now too. If you have, I will say this, I say this all the time. If you contact 10 people a day, it will change your life. And that's the bottom line. And it sounds simple, but most realtors aren't willing to do it. You obviously are, which is why you're seeing success. But a lot of people, they let the fear overtake
Yeah.
what needs to be done to have
Yeah.
frankly, a really cool career. I
Yeah.
mean, this is an actual really cool career once you get through the beginning when it's a little challenging.
I think too, with that being said, you have to overcome some of your fears.
Yeah.
It is uncomfortable to call people that you don't know.
Mhm.
It is uncomfortable to talk to someone that you haven't talked to in a long time. However, be genuine, be honest, admit your, I won't even say mistake, but just admit that you know where you're at.
Yeah.
And if someone's important to you and you haven't talked to them in a while, well, guess what? Picking up the phone or texting them is showing that they're important to you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not just about business. It's about how that person is. We work in a business where we are relationship driven.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have to put the person first. And honestly, when I call someone, my focus is not how am I going to get them to buy or sell real estate.
Yeah, absolutely.
My focus is how is that person doing, what's going on in their life, what's changed. And then if there's some way I can help them or someone they know, that's a perk.
Yeah, you're coming from contribution. You know,
Yep.
I mean, you're coming from a good place where you're trying to help. 9 times out of 10 the times I help people, this has nothing to do with real estate as far as actually selling them something. That's, hey, I have an HVAC system that we're having some challenges
Yep.
with. Hey, I need a painter. You know,
Mhm.
I'm thinking about redoing my bathroom. I mean, we're a wealth of knowledge, and a lot of times people think all we do is sell real estate. I will say almost everything that I do for my past clients is not actually making us money. Eventually it will,
Right.
but it's not making direct money. So put the customer first, and they're
Yeah.
they'll come back to you, and people appreciate that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, consistency obviously is key. So just put yourself out there. Ask people if you can help with anything. One thing I've done many times is, unfortunately, my follow-up hasn't been as good as it could be with past clients. And whenever I reach out to them, a lot of times people ask me like, oh, how do you contact somebody you maybe haven't reached out to in a year?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the big ways that I do that is I'll just say, hey, whoever it is, hey, it's your long lost realtor, Steve. How you doing? Just fall on your sword. Say, you know, that is admitting that you did not communicate with them properly, and just, it's your long lost realtor. How you doing? Oh man, everything's good. How's the house? Boom, done. Have a conversation with them and go from there, and it'll all just open up. But here's the thing: you think that they're going to be mad at you. 9 times out of 10, they haven't even thought about you, much less are they going to be mad about you or at you about something. So just make the call or make that touch point, however it is, and just move on with it. Yeah. So yes, again, consistency is key. All right. Another question. A funny story. Do you have any funny stories in real estate right now, or weird stories, or freaky stories, or just crazy situation that's happened?
So sometimes I've told my clients, you never know what you're going to find on the other side of a door.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, I can't think of anything major or big, but
thankfully,
you know, yeah. I mean, I've had experiences where I remember a couple of years ago, I was showing a client a house, and yeah, the vibe was off, and we're walking through the house and we noticed the back door was open, and I was like, that's weird. Like that's really weird. So you just, I don't know, like I wouldn't say I have anything that's funny, or, you know, but I would just say you just never know what's on the other side of the door.
Yeah.
You know, there's been times where I've found people that are in the house. So one of the things I talk about in some of my short videos is, you know, as a seller, don't stay around for showings. Well, I've definitely been on the other side of that. Yeah. I've definitely been showing buyers, and the sellers are either sitting on the front porch, or they surprise me when I come in the house, or, you know, like last weekend, I actually had an experience where my client's granddaughter was with us. She ran upstairs to check out the upstairs, and lo and behold, you know, the seller was there and we didn't even know.
Yeah.
And so I came up the stairs behind her, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry. Like, did you know we had a showing schedule? And he's like, oh yeah, I knew. And I was like, oh great. Okay. You know, and so like my top priority, truthfully, was protecting her granddaughter, because I was like, I don't know who this person is, you know? And so I think you just don't know what you're walking into sometimes. The other thing is you also don't know again, it comes back to when you're showing houses with buyers, like you don't know what the seller has set up in their own house.
Yeah.
So like there's been houses I've gone in and I'm like, what do they have hidden in this house? Because there are video cameras in every room. And I feel like they can track me, I like to joke about like, don't talk about what you think about the house while you're in the house. Like if you really love it, be like, give me hand signals or something like, or like a wink or something, because you just, sellers more often than not can hear exactly what you're saying or what you think.
Yeah, that you brought up two good points. Number one, before you enter a house, I always tell agents, knock on the door. Like I don't care if you pretty much know it's vacant or whatever, knock on the door, let somebody know you're there. You don't want to surprise people because I've had that happen too, where sellers or a son or a daughter's at the house and message didn't get relayed, whatever. And also always treat every single showing like you're on camera. And I always say, tell your buyers before you come in, like assume that you're on camera because you may be, technically you're not supposed to be recorded in the house. However, we all know how that can happen sometimes. So I always say, don't say anything that will hurt your negotiating points or, something just absolutely mean about the house. I mean, just treat it like you're being videoed. I had one person call me years ago and they were really upset because the agent did a preview and they felt like he was looking through their cabinets. And I don't know that was actually the case because I actually know the agent quite well. And I called him and I just said, hey, here was a concern. And he was like, listen, my client's very particular about everything, like every little thing. It wasn't, I wasn't going through their drawers and trying to steal anything. I believe him, whether it's true or not, I don't know. But again, if that wasn't recorded, they would have never even known. So just treat every showing, whether you're a buyer or an agent, like you're being videoed.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
A lot of times buyers might see me look around the house real quick before I say something like, am I being recorded? Actually, you know what? Let's step outside real quick to make sure, before we talk further. I will tell you, ring cameras always find you. Like there's almost a ring camera on every single house.
Yep. So, and front porch isn't ever far enough away.
No. Keep your mouth shut. So I had one more question. Like if you were someone who was thinking about maybe joining a team or thinking about, beginning in real estate, like what would your number one focus be on? Like what would you be thinking about as far as like what firm you chose or team or anything like that? What would you focus on before making your decision? What would be the biggest reason that you would choose one firm or team over another?
I think it's going to be, if I was to start all over, and I think it's really, really important for you to talk to people from different brokerages and be open and honest with your concerns, your fears. You should address like things that you hear always happen and see if it's true or not, like just stereotypes that people have of our profession, maybe in regards to how long it takes to get your first paycheck or, how you really have to dig in deep and things are not just going to be handed to you.
Yeah.
I think there's the huge misconception of teams that you're just going to be given your clients, and that's not true at all. I think as a brand new agent, you don't understand what that really means and what a lead actually means. It's not someone who is, you call them the first time, they answer and they're like, yep, I'm ready to buy tomorrow.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And I think you have to understand that it's a long game.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not quick and easy in real estate. You have to be persistent. You have to be consistent, like we talked about before. But you also have to have people that you can trust and ask questions of.
Yeah.
People that are going to answer the phone when something comes up, because you're going to have lots of questions.
Yeah.
You're not always going to understand when you're brand new how to fill out the paperwork or what to say if they come back and they say, no, we're not willing to accept your offer, but here's our counter offer. Well, what do you do?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's, it's funny. I literally just got a message earlier before we did this video on, one of our agents on our team needs help, filling out a buyer agency agreement. And I responded to Jessica, our director of operations. And I said, hey, I did a video on that the other week. It's in our shared drive, send that to her. And then I'll help her after I'm done videoing with you.
Right.
So it's important that, people can get the help even when I'm not necessarily available, or they can go to somebody like you or somebody else on the team to ask for that assistance. I think for me, if I was looking for either a team or a brokerage, or both for that matter, I would be like you. I would want to be at a place where I know I could get assistance, because I'm going to be frank, the number one value that we have as a team isn't necessarily the leads. We do provide leads, but it's more about the support. the support to help people convert the leads that we provide, but also know what to do with them whenever they convert them. And I think that a lot of firms and teams in general drop the ball there, is they may provide the lead, but then they don't have the support, or they don't know who to go to. And that's something I've really tried, work really hard to clean up on our team and make sure that's not the case. And frankly, I mean, I think you're case in point, because you have succeeded. You're not afraid to come and ask a question. You're not afraid to help people. The rest of the team is not afraid to help people either. But yeah, I mean, support, that's what I would just say. Number one, if I was joining a team right now or a firm, my number one thing would be support. How am I going to be supported as a professional if I attach my business to yours? And that's, so there, it's a huge piece of why you should choose one firm/team over the other.
I think you have to remember, too, that you're going to be faced with the unknown over and over and over again. It's not like a lot of other professions where you learn the process, you do it so many times that you're good at it and you can do it in your sleep. It's not like that in real estate. You never know what's around the corner. You never know when something might go sideways or a situation might pop up. There's a big difference between something I've had transactions that were smooth and easy and pieces fit together. And I've also had some that had some hiccups along the way. And you have to be ready for the unknown. And you have to know that you have someone who's got your back to help you.
And that brings up a point too. As an agent, it's not your job to know every answer, but it is your job to figure out how to get them. And I'm 18 years in. I mean, I literally just had a message. I mentioned I was handling something for a team, but I still work buyers and sellers. I just got a message from a buyer a little while ago about a pool that it looks like the pool for the house that he's buying might need $40,000 of work to be done to it. So that's a whole nother challenge on how to navigate it. Have I navigated it before? Yes, but this is going to be unique. It's always unique. So, so we're always learning. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is being learning based, and learning something from every transaction. Well, Victoria, thank you so much for doing this with us today. I hope this information is helpful to everybody that's watching this. It's a fun career. I've had a lot of fun with it. There are definitely some challenges whenever you're in this very unique career and you're helping people, frankly, spend probably the most amount of money they ever are in anything else whenever they buy a home. So, and how to navigate all that. But, again, thank you so much. Thank you for your support for the team and, everything you do, not only for the team, but your family and as an individual agent, as well. And I can't wait to see what the next couple of years hold. I have a feeling we're going to, the numbers we were talking about earlier, I have a feeling they're going to probably quadruple in the next 2 to 3 years. So keep doing what you're doing. And we'll see what this career brings.
Well, thank you.
No, you're welcome.